Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to the next video. Today we are going to talk about the story of me on how I got started with the mind map and what kind of psychology that each one of us should have to get started with the mind mapping. So let's get started. So now I'm going to share you the mind map. The main objective of this particular video will be to get the confidence actually of if I can do it, you can also do it. So there is no difference between you and me. It's an awesome thing that you can look at. So I have to get focus on the psychology of I want to do this because this is a change that we are talking about. Any change that you want to do it in your life, it will not be easy, and you got to have that mindset of getting yourself changed. Then only anything can happen. So the next important thing is have your mindset that you want to do it, because in the initial days your mind is going to say, no, this method is not something for me, I want to get back to my original method. So we don't want to get started with the original one because we are looking at changing the perception of everything. So now let's get started with my story of how it all started. So way back in my school days, right, when I was actually doing my initial days, I used to be there in the classes, right? The teacher used to teach a lot of things. When I used to hear that, everything was like, wow, I'm able to understand whatever the teacher is telling. What used to happen is the moment I go out of the class, I was not able to recall whatever the teacher was telling. This was something, very, very hurting for me, because I was thinking that everything I was able to understand, but nothing I was able to recall at the later stage. So that was that issue. And now let me ask you this question, how many of you have actually, how many of you are really, have gone through the situation? you know I know you're seeing a recorded video, uh, but you can always say that yes, I am just in front of the computer. So I know that, even though I may not be able to see you, but I will be able to recognize or hear the content that you're looking for, right? So that's the question I wanted to ask you, right? So I went back to the teacher, and asked them, um, see, the teacher, I mean, I asked, madam, this is the issue and that I'm actually having. So whatever you're telling, I'm able to understand, but as soon as I come out of that, I'm forgetting it. So guess what teacher said? The teacher said, Karthik, you're not concentrating enough in the class. Said, okay, maybe that's my fault. So let me get started focusing, on more in the class. So the next thing, what I did was I started focusing. I was so much focused looking at that. I was not even looking at here and there, not even looking at girls, right? So it was so much, focused to look at the entire thing. And all of a sudden, even after that, and it went for next couple of days. Guess what happened? The trend continued to happen. There's nothing changed, no change basically. Then I said, oh my goodness, then there's something wrong with me that I need to fix. And what I did was I started speaking to my classmates. And I was, to my surprise, many of them came to me and they said that when I was asking this question, they said, no, yes, Karthik, we are also having the same problem. And that's when the entire thing, I started seeing, okay, so there's a problem, not just me, I'm alone, I'm having. So let me get started with this. So then I started looking for the solution. So way back in my, primary school days, that's around 25 years back. We never had any, internet. We never imagined something like internet can come and we can see and all those kind of things. And we started, really, really, have to, only source of information is that either you should go to library, read some books or magazine, or consult one of the subject matter experts. So that's where I started going through different books. I went through the magazines. The entire thing changed when I found something called as a Success Digest. This is one of the magazine that was sent by Dr. Bharat Chandra. There I read about this mind map, and also in the Competition Success Review. These two magazines really, really changed my life. When nobody was able to sell the solution, I was able to read about something called as a mind map. At that time, I had no clue who is this guy who has invented the mind maps and other stuff. And I'm glad that, I'm so thankful to Tony Buzan for, giving this mind map to this word. Now, then I started, as my school days got over, I started with my college days, and the moment the student life is over, then it all started. I went to the professional life, where I used to have a great IT career, and I was fortunate to visit different countries like US, Australia, UK, Singapore, and everything. And I started growing in my career. And when you start growing in your career, what happens? You're going to have a lot of people. You will have to manage a lot of projects, a lot of meetings, a lot of stakeholders. Everything is going to multiply, so including your stress level, right? So it used to be another level of problem started. So what is that problem? That problem is that used to work in those particular countries. I mean, I used to work in those different projects, and when multiple projects started coming into my life, a lot of meetings. So I used to attend a lot of meetings, and it was so much messy in my head that when I go to the next meeting, I could not even recall what was discussed in the previous meetings, and go back and looking at the minutes of meetings. So if somebody has documented well, if somebody is not documented, you have another problem to solve. And it went on like that. So it became more and more messy, and I started losing the confidence. Okay. So how many of you are actually running through this kind of challenge, where you have too many things in your plate and you don't know how do you actually segregate this, right? And that's something amazingly changed my life. So I I was thinking there's too much of pressure that getting built up. So then I said how I was doing it in my child days. I went back and started analyzing my own thing. In the movie, you see, right? In the recap, you see a spiral coming out. The same spiral was running in my mind, and then I started realizing that way back in my school days and my students, when I was a student, I was using my mind map exclusively, which I stopped using. So why not get started again? Then I started using all these mind maps, and for all my meetings and everything. It was so much amazing, that I used to capture all the notes runtime. I used to have it in a handy. I used to pass it on to my team so they can refer and actually, create the minutes of meeting and send it. And if somebody calls me, before the call, I mean, so what I used to do is hang on. So I'm middle of something. Can I give you a call back? Yes. And I go back and look at this, open my mind map in a single page, everything coming in a single page, refer that, particular thing, go through that, and then call him back. Yes, you were asking something about it. And I'll have my mind map open. And when he talks about, I know exactly what he's talking about. And I'm going to tell these are, no, not only that, these are the things also we discussed. And they used to get amazed. Wow, Karthik, they used to tell. And I used to feel in my mind, wow, mind map. So I hope you're able to correlate with what I'm actually talking about, right? So then came my business life, wherein we started doing a small business, where I used to capture all the minutes of meeting of the discussion. Whenever I used to do the requirement gathering, I used to take all those mind maps, minutes of meeting and mind maps, and I used to send it to them. I used to have a lot of brainstorming session. I used to do all daily action items, prioritization, you name everything. I started doing it in mind maps. So that literally helped me in harvesting a lot of time, a lot of my time, which I could spend in a lot of other activities. Trust me, guys, there is no value that you can put for the time, right? So you agree with me, right? So there are a lot of templates that's available, that's been created, and I was able to leverage some of the Tony Vasan's templates that he was having, and that really turned my life. And when you give this kind of representation to the customers, sharing all these things and the mind maps and showing them, it's all together a new level. You will not have anything that you can expect to happen, right? So that's the amazing thing, what happens now. Let me share you some of the case studies of what is there. So this was my own case study, where I was working in UK. It was a complex project. I used to handle multiple stakeholders and everything, multiple projects. And one day I was taking the notes, and one of my client came in, and I just told him, just wait for 2 minutes. I was in a call, and he said, okay, I can wait. And then I was taking a notes in the mind map, and then all of a sudden I started laughing. I didn't realize, because I was busy with this. The moment I stopped my work, I looked at him and said, yeah, pardon me, how can I help you? Because I was just about to close the meeting. So 30 seconds left. He said that, now I know the secret. I said, what secret? Now I know the secret of how you handle complex projects, multiple projects simultaneously. Because no, I have seen that in the last 6 months, I have got 6 people to work on this. Nobody was able to manage it. And I got the secret. Whatever the diagram that you're making is that, what is this diagram all about? And I explained about the mind map. I was so much impressed with that. So that's my own personal case study of I'm looking at this. And the next one was the Boeing. This was a reference taken from Tony Buzan's book. He says that they did a huge, mind mapping session with their, all the customers who had, basically all their employees. And with that, they were able to make a huge savings of around 20 to 30%. Looking at the number of 20 to 30%, you may say, what is 20, 30%? But please mindful, these are all airline business. They're manufacturing the airlines. Each of the projects runs into billions of dollars. 20 to 30% is like $300 million, guys. It's an amazing thing. So it's something that you cannot, just ignore right away, right? So, and for the new people who are going to get into the system, the learning curve came down by close to 75%. That's amazing that you're just spending 25% of the time to get started. So let me get started with the analogy, because I want all of you to get familiar with this, because it's like a race, So if you have a less, if you're running in a race, you got 10 participants, 10 race cars, exactly same. There's no change, okay? And for example, let's take a Ferrari, which is the most common known name, and assume that everybody has got 10 cars of the same model. Ferrari, each one of them having one car and same model, and all 10 drivers are there. Guess how many people can win this race? Just guess. Yes. Yeah, you're right. What you've guessed is right. It's going to be only one winner who can get the first prize. You can always have second and third prize. Okay. But the question is, everybody has got the same car, same racing car, but why is that only one person winning the race? Right? It's an important question that we have to ask. So now, what is that is more important? It's about the driver. So it's not about the car, it's about the driver. The reason why I gave the analogy of the racing car is because the racing car is something that is, it's like our brain. Our brain is capable of running at the speed of the Ferrari, faster than light actually. But we need to know how we should use it. It's all about the driver. It's not about the car, it's about the driver. So let's focus on driving skills. And the moment you're going to have this driving skills coming, and amazing things are going to happen. So with this, let's watch for the next video. Awesome.